So the entire Dana Evans situation for me has just been really, really weird. Like when we're talking about WNBA players, I just feel like this one is just odd. And this is like your case study of what not to do as a WNBA player. Because the reality of the situation is that she came out to complain that it was her own fans that turned on her, and her own fans got even worse. Like, it full on was like, oh, these vets are trying to ruin our rookies. And by the way, whatever about Dana Evans just doesn't, like, has not played with a back to basket post player and didn't want to pass the ball into their post players. Like, she took a lot of shots when she could have passed in their post players. Realistically, as someone who wasn't even the greatest shooter or the greatest scorer in the world, she was, third and sixth player of the year last year. She was averaging like 13 a game as a starter. And by the way, they were better when she was starting. They had a better record with her starting on the bench, by the way. So it is just, she's not as good as Kennedy Carter, but she was doing better. It's just Kennedy Carter and Dana Evans didn't play well together. So they chose Kennedy Carter over, which is fine. But like, Dana Evans wasn't the only thing Dana Evans did really wrong this year was not passing the ball enough to Angel Reese, who shoots 38% from the field. We gotta just stress that enough. And by the way, the Izzy Harrison thing is hilarious. Do you want to know what Izzy Harrison's crime was? Grabbing rebounds. Whatever the Dana Evans, you can say, oh, she's shooting the ball when she should be passing the ball. It is what it is. Izzy Harrison's biggest crime was grabbing rebounds, according to these fans. Like, I watched every single Chicago Sky game. Izzy Harrison is one of the best backup power forwards in the league. Better backup power forwards are whoever comes off the bench for the Mystics, Hines Allen, and that might be it. That might be it for better backup power forwards than Izzy Harrison. I think Izzy Harrison was really good. And I've said that from early in the year. Obviously, she came back from injury. But if you look here on Twitter, heck, even Bree Turner has said, if someone expresses vulnerability, maybe your immediate reaction shouldn't be to invalidate your experience. I know we live in a world. She is a vet on this team. She is a freaking vet on the Sky team. She is a teammate of Dana Evans. Most definitely, Dana and Izzy were valid. And the one thing is, whatever about that, there's a thing called personal accountability. If you leave a presser and complain about vitriol on social media, then go directly to the same social media, contribute to the vitriol. She can contribute to it necessarily, but at the same time, this is the worst thing you can do. Because this tweet's there. So my theory that the vets on the Chicago Sky being jealous of their rookies is basically proven by the interview. By the way, Izzy Harrison got abuse on social media, and I repeat, for grabbing rebounds. For stealing rebounds. You can't fucking steal rebounds! You can't steal rebounds! Like, I'm sorry, you just can't steal rebounds. The only way, like, that invalidates. If you're saying that her teammate is stealing her rebounds, that invalidates Angel's record. If you think that her teammates should just let her grab rebounds, and that invalidates the damn rebound record. Because of all things, it doesn't matter who rebounds the damn ball. Like, if there are two players standing beside you, it doesn't matter who grabs the ball. Just run an offense. The reality is, in an ideal situation in basketball, your point guard grabs a rebound. Like, the ideal scenario is your point guard grabs a rebound so they can push the floor. And you don't have to go big passing into a point guard or your best outlet passer, whether that be like a Kevin Love or, I'm trying to think, maybe an Emma Mason man who's able to make those outlet passes grabbing a rebound. If you're in the WNBA level. A Jokic grabbing a rebound because he can push the floor. Someone that can push the floor and is a playmaker. Your best playmaker grabbing the ball on the rebound. Your best outlet passer is the ideal situation. But, like, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day because the most important thing is that your team gets the rebounds. Individual rebounding is irrelevant. It is team rebounding, which the Sky did really well. Angel Reese is a great rebounder and the Sky were a great rebounding team. Partially because of her, partially because of Cardoso, partially because they couldn't make a damn shot on offense. But, yes, Angel Reese was the biggest reason why they were such a good rebounding defensive team, but her defensive numbers aren't as important as her impact on the team's numbers, if you get me. But she goes, you gotta let that go. Riding this weird-ass narrative that we jealous of our own teammates. The actions on the court show otherwise. You don't know how to pass the rookies. The moment Izzy came into the game, y'all became elite passers. Like, what? What? So, you couldn't pass to the rookies, but you'll pass to Izzy Harrison. It's like, what are you talking about? I've watched these games. It's 100%. Finally giving y'all what you want. Y'all moment, you took it from y'all. What are you talking about? Like you said in the interview, you went from starting to coming off the bench and not even playing. Like, obviously you're going to be pissed off at that. But the reality of this is, go watch your plays. Your manager started shading, saying your confidence was gone to save face. Like, she asked for a trade. The team said no. Her agent shouldn't have come out on social media. That's a problem with her agent. But why is she replying? Like, look, I don't think Dane Evans has been very good, but why are you replying to the nonsense fans on the internet? Like, I'm just saying this right now. Sports discourse. The players should not be involved in the crap. The players should not be involved in this crap. Let the nonsense stay on social media. Don't let it affect the locker room. And it clearly did. Like, Marina Mabrey wanted out. Dana Evans wanted out. And, like, you might be saying, oh, Dana Evans isn't very good. But Dana Evans is a champion. Dana Evans was one of the best bench guards in the WNBA. Unpopular opinion, Dana Evans is still one of the best bench guards in the WNBA. I'm trying to get better bench guards. Walker Kimbrough, Tiffany Hayes, who's not a bench player. She just is one because she retired and came back. Like, if Dana Evans wanting to go, if they're willing to give up Dana Evans for nothing, I would make the Dana Evans and Alyssa Smith trade. If that was a straight up offer trade, I would make it. Dana Evans fits better with Indiana because she can actually do something. She's not this like playmaking player, but like she can come off the bench for Kelsey Mitchell as like a 2-guard. Yes, she can over dribble the ball, but she has a lot of the same good qualities as Kelsey Mitchell. She's nowhere near as good as Kelsey Mitchell. Don't get it twisted. She's nowhere near as good as Kelsey Mitchell, but she has some of the same good qualities that Kelsey Mitchell has. She's a pretty okay shooter when she gets it and catch and shoot, and she's another one when she makes quick decisions is pretty good. When she over dribbles, she's poor. So I would make that trade. If I'm Indiana, I would make that trade and I would look to pay Emma Mason as much money as she wants. I'd pay her as much money as she wants, see if she'll come over. I'd look to Europe for a power forward. Because there are a lot of players that I think you can get overseas that will fit the Caitlin Clark, because the way they play overseas a lot of the time is more suited towards the way Indiana play. So I would maybe look towards going overseas to get an overseas rookie at the power forward, because Natasha Howard's wife, this is going to be Alyssa Smith 2.0 again with Dejanay. We don't want that crap. But yeah, it is mad. Like, if you're looking at Dana Evans' Twitter, it's just her responding to the Twitter idiots. Like, and this is the thing. People have to understand, Dana doesn't usually play back to the basket. Go research 4 or 5. She won with Candace Parker, Azari Stevens, Emma Mason, and their floor spacers. And she goes, it's okay, I promise, no hard feelings to everyone. This is a new setup as well. And like, there's a lot to be said for a lack of adaptability. And Dana Evans' ability to adapt to dumping the ball into a 38% shooting center post player probably wasn't the greatest. And like she said, it was like we played up tempo and now we were told to play really slow, unless it was obviously Kennedy Carter, which is understandable. Like, there is issues with when it comes to Dana Evans. Like, she did not fit in well with the system. We've talked about the same thing when it came to what's her name, Erica Wheeler, Alyssa Smith to an extent, Kelsey Mitchell to start the season, where it's like, no, we're changing the system, you got to fit in, and the team did fit in. However, like, Dana Evans was never really able to adapt her game, and that's where the flaws are. But the reality is like there is a difference between saying, when we're talking about the entire situation, of she did not adapt well enough to she was jealous of our rookies and all this crap. And then the worst thing you can do is respond to it. The worst thing these players can do is respond. And that is where the biggest issue is when it comes to these WNBA players, is that they just got to not respond. And the problem is that her agent is there publicly announcing she requested a trade. And look, her agent she likes her agent, she likes her management team, and it's just not even a great look on her, that one specific scenario. But I think it's the problem with the WNBA is that so few of these players are media trained, because the reality of the situation is that the only reason we know about all this crap is because Dana Evans' agent tweeted out something. That's the only reason we know about the trade request. And look, she's not being good. She's really not being good this season, like, compared to how she'd been. She was one of the best bench players in the W a few years back, or even last season. So I think Dana Evans is one of the better players in the sky, just didn't fit onto the system. And she's someone that I think is everyone being like, oh, she's going to be out of the league, and saying, no, she's not. She's like Alyssa Smith. If you've watched what Alyssa Smith did before Aaliyah Boston got there and before Caitlin Clark got there, if you watch what Alyssa Smith did her first year in the W, you know Alyssa Smith just needs the right situation. Dana Evans is a champion. She'll just need the right situation. It is what it is. But one piece of advice, again, stay off the damn social media. Stay off Twitter. Players, stay off Twitter. Please stay off Twitter. You can ignore. It's so easy to ignore all the nonsense not on Twitter. Stay off Twitter. I repeat, like you're looking at this. My point is he's never bashed my teammates. Now it's, I don't know why y'all mad at us when you sit in the internet and bash us every day. Your true colours came out and the season's over. You were waiting on this moment. You let your agent bash Angel. He never bashed Angel. I don't actually think he did. Her agent was retweeting like Angel Reese for Rookie of the Year posts. Like, she's there arguing with, no, she's arguing under a space. The spaces for her brother and manager shading her teammate. Apparently, like, her brothers never tweeted anything. They were like her family's tweet and she's like, my family have never tweeted anything about a teammate. Like, it is nonsense. It is, like, literally nonsense. But the problem is she's interacting with it. Thought it was her dad. My dad's never said anything negative in this app. The problem with this all is she's interacting with it. Like, it's nonsense. It is Twitter nonsense. Like, oh my God. Like, I do genuinely, as I think Dana Evans, again, has the Alyssa Smith problem where it's a fit, not a player. It's not a player problem. I don't think either of them have done a good job adapting to probably better players around them. And I think both of them need new teams. But still, like, I don't even mind the press conference. I don't mind that. But that's where it should have been done. That was the time to log off Twitter for a week. Because playoffs are going to happen. Someone else is going to say something dumb and they'll be the new story. Don't make yourself the story. So anyway, that's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.